Have you ever felt like you've lost everything? Like you're at rock bottom with no clear path forward? Well, let me tell you a story about the women who faced just that, and how their journey of loyalty and love changed everything. This is the story of Naomi and Ruth. Our story starts with Naomi, her husband, and their two sons. A severe famine hits their hometown, so they pack up and move to a neighboring country called Moab to find a better life. Things seem okay at first. Her sons grow up and marry to local women, Orpah and Ruth. For about 10 years, they build a life there. But then, tragedy strikes. First, Naomi's husband dies. Then, a few years later, both of her sons also pass away. Imagine Naomi's heartbreak. She's in a foreign land, a widow, and now she's lost her two children. She's left with just her daughters-in-law, Orpah and Ruth. Feeling completely alone and believing life has turned against her, Naomi hears that the famine back home has ended. She decides it's time to return to her roots, to her people. As she prepares to leave, she turns to Orpah and Ruth. Go back, she tells them, go back to your own mother's homes. You've been so kind to my sons and to me. May you find new husbands and new lives. There was a moment filled with tears. They all knew this was goodbye. Orpah, after much hesitation, kisses Naomi and begins her journey back to her family. It was the sensible thing to do up at Ruth. Ruth wouldn't budge. She clung to Naomi. Naomi tried again. Look, your sister-in-law is going back to her people. You should go with her. And this is where the story truly turns. Ruth looks at her mother-in-law, a woman who has lost everything, and says some of the most famous words ever spoken about loyalty. She says, don't ask me to leave you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. Wow, can you feel the weight of that promise? Ruth was choosing a future of uncertainty with Naomi over a life of familiarity without her. She was choosing family, loyalty, and faith in the face of an unknown future. This wasn't just about sticking with her mother-in-law. It was a profound commitment. So the two women, Naomi the grieving widow and Ruth the loyal foreigner, traveled together. They finally arrive back in Naomi's hometown, Bethlehem, when the townspeople see Naomi. They're shocked. Is this really Naomi? They whisper. But Naomi, still full of sorrow, tells them, don't call me Naomi, which means pleasant. Call me Mara, which means bitter, because my life has been filled with bitterness. It was a tough start. They had nothing. To survive, Ruth went to the barley fields to gather leftover grain. A common practice for the poor. As fate, or maybe something more, would have it, she ends up in a field belonging to a man named Boaz. Boaz was not just any landowner. He was a relative of Naomi's late husband. He was also known for being a kind and respected man. When Boaz sees Ruth working hard in his field, he asks about her. His workers tell him she's the young woman from Moab who came back with Naomi. Boaz is impressed. He had already heard about her incredible loyalty to Naomi. He approaches Ruth and tells her, stay in my fields. Don't go anywhere else. I've told my workers to look out for you and make sure you're safe. You are welcome here, he shares his food with her and makes sure she has more than enough grain to take home. Ruth is overwhelmed by his kindness. Why are you being so good to me? She asks, I'm just a foreigner. Boaz replies, I've heard all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband. You left your father and mother and your homeland to live with a people you did not know before. May you be richly rewarded for what you have done. When Ruth gets home with a huge amount of grain, Naomi is amazed. Where did you work today? Who was so good to you? Ruth tells her it was in the field of a man named Boaz. A spark of hope ignites in Naomi's heart for the first time in a long, long time. She realizes that Boaz is one of their family redeemers, someone who could help them restore their family's land and future. Following Naomi's wise guidance, and through a series of beautiful, respectful cultural traditions, Boaz steps up. He not only admires Ruth's character, but he falls in love with her. He publicly declares his intention to marry Ruth and take care of her and Naomi, restoring their family name. So Boaz and Ruth get married. Their story which began in loss and bitterness, now overflows with joy and new beginnings. Soon after, they have a son named Obed. The women of the town gather around Naomi, who is now holding her grandson, and they say, "Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a guardian redeemer. And your daughter-in-law, who loves you and who is better to you than 7 sons, has given him birth." Naomi, who once called herself bitter, is now filled with joy, her life redeemed through the loyalty of one brave woman and the kindness of a good man. And that little baby, Obed? He would grow up to be the grandfather of the great King David. The story of Ruth and Naomi reminds us that even in our darkest moments, acts of loyalty, kindness, and faith can pave the way for a future we could never have imagined. It shows that family isn't just about blood. It's about the bonds of love we choose to forge. Thanks for watching. And don't forget to follow for more stories like this.